Hey everybody, what's going on? Thanks for swinging by. I sure do appreciate it. If this is your first time with the channel, my name is Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Welcome to Fit and Fire. Let's get into this video. As you can see, I'm out at the property. It's been a minute since I've been out here, but I did want to get out here and get some work done. Up early in the morning to catch a beautiful sunrise on the high point of my property. And while I was up here, I was thinking about what is kind of going on in the 2A community, specifically around what has happened with the big beautiful bill and the $0 tax stamp, and whether or not we should be purchasing suppressors now or waiting until after the first of the year. Now, here recently, my buddy Joe with Firearm Freedom, about 10 days ago or so, he did a great video kind of articulating what his opinions are, and I wanted to kind of caveat his video with mine and add a couple of additional points to some of the things that he was saying to kind of support his opinion, because I believe and agree with him. But we've also talked about it on Clayco 47's live stream last weekend, and then also episode 43 of the Live, Laugh, Larp podcast. And if you haven't catched any of those, I'll leave links in the pinned comment. Joe's video will be at the end of the video, and you guys can check that out as well. But essentially, I have three major points as to why I believe you probably should consider purchasing a suppressor right now. I also have an additional point that kind of backs up everything else, that may be a way to bridge the gap between buying now and waiting and not having to pay the tax stamp and so on and so forth. But essentially, I wanted to pull this together for you guys just to give you some things to think about. With all of that being said, I'm not getting paid by anybody for you guys to do anything. I do not have any contacts with any suppressor companies. I know some people, but they're business acquaintances. I don't consider them necessarily friends. But needless to say, I wanted to just pull something together and again, let you guys think about it. So let's dive into this video. Okay, point one is the fact that wait times are going to dramatically increase. So at least that's what we think is going to happen. With the fact that the $200 tax stamp is now $0, saving $200 is a big impact for a lot of people. So waiting until the first of the year to purchase something and then fill out your Form 4 is very enticing. So I would expect, and so did Joe over at Firearm Freedom, he and I both agree that we should expect to see wait times increase. Now, bureaucrats are going to bureaucrat, and I can guarantee you that the ATF is just going to throw their hands up and just be like, well, our budget has been slashed. We don't have enough personnel to, process these Form 4s. It's going to take some time, and wait times are just going to increase over the next few months after the first of the year. Now, compare that to right now. About 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, I picked up my newest suppressor from Zustava USA. It's their Zvuk 762 3D printed titanium can. Clayco has one. He just did a video on it. But the wait time for me on my tax stamp was 36 hours. So the moment that my FFL submitted my eForms 4, 36 hours later, I got an email saying, you're good to go. So the question then begins, do you want to wait that prolonged period of time? Now, it's not going to be the same as the first suppressor I ever got way back in 2019. I had to wait 11 months. Will it be that long? I don't know. But needless to say, it's going to be longer than what we're used to. That's for sure. Okay, point two is going to be simple supply and demand economics. As we should expect a dramatic increase of Form 4s being filed after the first of the year, that means that a lot of people are going to be purchasing suppressors. The supply is not going to increase dramatically between now and the first of the year, and I'll explain why here in just a second. So that means that demand's way up here, supply's still way down here, so there is a potential for a lot of the more popular cans to be out of stock, which means that you're going to have to wait even longer for those to catch up with the supply and demand, and for you to be able to get one, plus the Form 4 wait times. And it's not going to be very pretty after the first of the year. Now, the reason why I don't believe that suppressor companies are going to dramatically increase their inventory between now and the first of the year is, number one, there's no guarantee that there's going to be a big influx of sales. There very well may be, but there's no guarantee. That's number one. Number two is most suppressor companies are going to be very small companies. They're not going to be like a Glock or a Smith & Wesson or anything like that. They're usually about 10 to 30 employees, pretty small in the grand scheme of things. So they don't necessarily have a lot of capital for them to kind of lean on to plus up inventory between now and the end of the year. In addition to that, we also have to broaden our gaze a little bit when it comes to business in general. What happens the day after Thanksgiving? That's Black Friday. The following Monday is Cyber Monday, and that begins, quote unquote, begins the buying season for the holiday gift giving season. Why is that so important to American businesses? Well, it's because they're trying to clear out their warehouses of all of the inventory that they've been building up for the entire year, specifically for Christmas. And if they have any inventory by the end of the year, they're going to be taxed on that inventory. So a small mom and pop style suppressor shop is not going to plus up their inventory prior to the new year to be taxed on that, in the hopes that they're going to have a lot of sales. So that is one of the other reasons why I believe that we're going to see a lot of out of stock suppressors. Prices are going to go up as well, and that leads me into point 3. All right, so point 3 is actually a point that my co-host on the Live, Laugh, Larp podcast, Hefe Actual, he made this point, and I don't disagree with him. It seems kind of seedy, a little underhanded that a suppressor company would do this, but I fully expect to see this happening because of either supply and demand, or suppressor companies are going to have to increase personnel to build suppressors because there's such an influx of orders. They may have to expedite supply to actually assemble the suppressors, or whatever the case may be, but we may see prices increase because of the market's demanding it. That's number one. But realistically, suppressor companies might be, well, we've had to hire a whole bunch of people. We've had to order a whole bunch of more stock of material like bar stock and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we're going to have to raise prices. So that $700 can is now probably going to be $800 can. And the reason why is because suppressor companies have always baked in the fact that consumers are going to have to pay a $200 tax stamp on top of the suppressor itself. So their margins are usually a little bit tighter than the rest of the market in my educated guess. I don't know for a fact, but I would suspect that margins are a little bit tighter on suppressors because of that $200 tax stamp. Well, that $200 tax stamp is no longer there, so they could, artificially inflate the price just a little bit. Now, it's kind of a win-win because, the suppressor company increased the price of the can by $100, so they're making more money. But at the end of the day, you're still spending less as well because you don't have to pay the $200 tax stamp. So that $700 can that used to be $900 by the time you got done with the entire process, not counting any type of transfer fee, then, now it's going to be like $800. So you've essentially saved $100, but that may not necessarily be the case. It could go up even more than what the tax stamp was. So there's a lot of guessing. We really don't know what's going to happen. And in my opinion, I think it's best to go ahead and purchase right now. So then the question is, what do I do? Do I buy now? Do I wait? And I think that you can buy now, but there's a strategy to go about it because there are some silencer companies that are unrolling a program to allow you to go ahead and purchase the can now. And then you can start the Form 4 after the first of the year. So you purchase it now, and then the company will send it to your FFL after the first of the year. Then you can start the Form 4 process. That does a couple of different things. Number one is it locks in your price for what it is right now, so you don't have to worry about any type of increases after the first of the year. Number two is you get to win on not paying that $100 or $200 tax stamp. It's going to be zero after the first of the year. Now, the downside to it is, A, you've got to wait 4.5 months before that can's even going to be delivered. And two, if wait times increases after the first of the year, you're going to have to wait even longer. So yes, you're kind of winning on the fact that you're able to lock in the price as it is right now. You won't have to pay the $200 tax stamp, but the question then ends up being, will the company even have inventory? Essentially, what I think that silencer or suppressor companies are doing is they're basically taking pre-orders right now. So they understand how much increase they need to ramp up the supply chain and assembly process and all of that type of stuff by the end of the year or just after the first of the year. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that works out. Now, if there's a local shop to you that sells suppressors that actually has inventory, and you can go in and purchase it and then wait until after the first of the year to start the Form 4, and you can actually see they remove that can out of the shelf, they tie your name to it, and then put it behind, back in the back, in their warehouse or whatever they got, their storage room. That is a good way to do it. I know there's a couple of different shops locally to me that I can go in and purchase a can. They have it in stock. I can see them remove it. They put my name on it, take it into the back, all that type of stuff. So needless to say, I think that is the probably best way to go about it if you're not concerned about wait times. And that's what it really boils down to, is if you're not concerned about wait times at all, then this video is a no-brainer for you. You're just going to wait until after the first of the year, save your money, potentially, and then go about your way. But if you're concerned about that, if you're concerned about wait times, you're concerned about laws changing between now and the first of the year, which who knows what's going to happen there, then, maybe spending the extra $200 is a good idea. But at the end of the day, I'm not you. I want you to make the best decision for you and your family on what you need to protect them. And I'm just trying to basically articulate some of my thoughts, some of my friends' thoughts into a video to spur some additional considerations for you guys when purchasing. I hope that helps, and if not, let me hear about it down in the comment section down below. By no means am I trying to do any type of fear-mongering or tell you to panic buy or anything like that. I just want to create a holistic picture of everything, and I really do appreciate you guys swinging by and checking things out. As mentioned, I will have a video from Joe, Firearms Freedom, talking about his perspective on buying cans now or later. At the end of this, I've got stuff down in the pinned comment for you guys to check out as well. And I certainly do appreciate you guys swinging by. Man, it's gorgeous country out here, and I'm glad to be out here and checking things out. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to link up with the Wyoming Gun Project and maybe do some content with him. We're working that out. But with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so much. As always, freedom through strength. Here comes a high five. Bye, y'all.